I'm assuming this is getting monetized on like YouTube and all that. Do you know how much you make from YouTube? How what the split is?
I know exactly what the split is.
What?
Well, I mean, that's my business.
No, no, no. Meaning not your business. That you meaning you don't know how much YouTube gets for an ad.
Well, here's it. So
Well, wait,
here's
let me just tell you.
no, no, no.
It's 6 billion last quarter. YouTube made $6 billion off of content creators. They only paid out 100 million. So that means if they're getting $6,000 worth of ads, they only giving you 100.
Right.
So they never give you an accounting on how much.
That's wrong. He's wrong. He's 100% wrong. He's 100% wrong. You can't go by that, right? And see, this is why we have to educate ourselves, right? Because first and foremost, the way that YouTube generates money is not just from ads that is ran inside of a content creator's profile, right? It's a lot of people that's on the platform that's not even monetized. Let me say that again. It's a lot of people that's not on the platform that's not even monetized, but that continues to put out content. Also, all content is not created equal. You got to take into consideration what's generated with music, right? YouTube Music also generates revenue. It's a lot of different ways in which it generates revenue. Now, the split that you get from YouTube as a content creator is the split. So the money that is generated as a result of what the ads are that's ran on a platform, the split is the split. Now, let me add another couple things in here. One of the reasons why this platform is so powerful, and again, you don't know the costs. Every hour, every minute, it's like a billion, I forgot how much, but it's like so many hours worth of content that's uploaded to YouTube servers. It takes money to have developers. It takes money to have the platform. It takes money to build the infrastructure. It takes money to continue to host. It takes money to all of this stuff that it takes to run it. Now, YouTube provides the infrastructure. It provides the algorithm. It provides all of the developers and everything that puts the platform together that continues to make it. You got to download the app and you got to be able to run it on the app and run it on this and run it on the TV and run it on all of that, right? And so it takes money to run it. If it was so easy, then Rumble would already be profitable. If it was so easy, then a lot of these other platforms, we would stand up on our own platform. But the partnerships is to build the infrastructure that ultimately, I should be talking about this on the Millionaire Morning Show, but we're just going to go ahead and rock out with it. The partnerships it's the reason why I haven't left Patreon, right? The reason that I haven't left Patreon is because I'm always doing a cost-benefit analysis of what it would cost me to stand up my own platform. Because it would be easy for me to say, well, Patreon takes a percentage of what you already out there producing, right? But the reality is that it costs money to host. It costs money to develop. It costs money to continue to update. It costs money for security. It costs money for the infrastructure. It costs money for the web developers. It costs money to maintain. And so the cost benefit analysis is, well, is Patreon continue to innovate enough to where it actually justifies me standing on a platform? And how much is it going to cost me to stand it up on my own? And will it actually be more profitable and easier experience for me to continue to innovate and update? Because you can't just stand still. You can't just build a platform and build it on my own website and launch it on my website and that's the end of the conversation. You got to continue to innovate. You got to continue to work it. And so how much effort does it take for me to be able to stand up that platform versus partnering? Now, partnering means that I still own my content. I can remove it anytime I want. I own it. But at the same time, if they already have the infrastructure and it's a good infrastructure and it's standing, because my biggest thing is I want to make sure that my people, that the people, the bag chasers, make sure y'all tap into the Patreon, that the bag chasers is having the best experience possible, that there's a firewall, that we can do our meetups, that we can do our live streams or whatever. And so I always do that. I don't use regular videos. I use Vimeo for my future videos that I put inside of Patreon, and I add in certain restrictions in order to limit the ability for people to be able to get it outside of the bag chasers. So you can't just say, well, YouTube made $6 billion. It's not true. they only paid out this many millions of dollars over to the content creators. My split is my split. I know exactly what my split is. I know exactly what the split is that I get from my YouTube, and I also talk to my YouTube rep, and I go over a lot of different things. So I hate it when people say, "Yeah, we should just start our own." It's such a circular argument. It's such a silly argument from people that don't understand what it takes in order to really on certain platforms. I'm not saying that Dame don't understand business, but I'm also saying that I'm not really sure if he understands what it costs to generate revenue. YouTube is an infrastructure. For example, if you start your own platform, you also got to be out there pitching, selling, hustling, trying to find sponsors and getting your own ads. We don't have to worry about that. They go out, they've already built the infrastructure, they already make it easy for people to be able to run ads on the platform. You know what I'm saying? So we have enough work. It's the reason why a lot of these creators is quitting the platform right now, both big and small, because they're burned out. And you can't eat everything on your own. You got to pick and choose who your partners are going to be. So, they only paid this amount out to creators. No, they only paid this amount out to certain. YouTube has made millionaires. That's a fact, though. And then we can get sponsorships. It's so many different ways to cut the check. And the Patreon members, the bag chasers, they know what we busting down over here. They know. They seen my checks. They seen my deposits. They see what it is that we get from the platform. You're right. Kev on stage is struggling to keep his own app on going because they don't really understand. They don't get it. And so you got to pick and choose, and you got to be strategic about who you partner with and how independent you really want to be, because to be totally independent is to not have any infrastructure whatsoever and to just build it all yourself. Stand up your own satellites, stand up your own towers, do it all.
How much they get on the ad. So the reason why I never looked at YouTube, because I'm like, yo, I'm talking about being smart, but you jerking me. And plus, I don't trust Lyor. Period. Anything he doing, I don't trust. I know what he did with music.
Let me interject real quickly about it, because I definitely had to ask you.
I bet you Willie D making more money than most of these rappers and all of these other people, though. It's a reason why. Let me watch the rest of the video.
Lyor. What in the hell did Lyor do to you? Because I've heard you a few times talk about Lyor. I don't know the man from a hole.
It's not what he did to me, it's what he did to our culture and what I watched him do to other people.
What specifically, what's the gripe?
He's not from our culture, and he pushes people and monetizes the dysfunction of our culture, and he doesn't teach us how to actually make a certain kind of money and keep it in ownership. He teaches us to work for him. He robs us. I've watched him do it. So when we first started to work with Lyor, and he broke up Rockafella, to me, it was definitely, I'm not going to say that it's another man just got made to do something, but he was the one that would always give someone that option.
Was Russ?
I'm not sure if I would ever be able to interview Dame. Hold on, let me tell my daughter to be a little bit more quiet. I don't know if I'll ever be able to interview Dame. Not saying that he would ever even want to, I'm not saying that he would ever want to come on my platforms, but I'm not sure that I would ever want to interview Dame, because your job as an interviewer is to get as much information out, right? It's really not to have an opinion, unless it's that type of podcast. But it's to not have that type of opinion, not to have an opinion, but to let them get out whatever energy and to ask the right questions in order to get them to say as much as you possibly can and get their thoughts off. I disagree so much with Dame. He got to let that go. He going to have to let that go. This dude is so bitter towards Lyor Cohen. Look, fam, if another man, his stance is this. Lyor Cohen gave Jay-Z the option to be able to move on his own and do his own thing and ultimately become a billionaire. He's saying that Lyor is the one that broke up Rockafella. At no point have I ever, in no interview, and I might be crazy, at no point have I ever seen Dame Dash come to the front of the congregation and say, hey, I could have did things a little bit better. You know what? I didn't have to be so abrasive. You know what? Maybe it was the fact that I thought that our relationship was tighter than it really was, but I was so focused on doing other things that me and Jay's relationship wasn't really what I thought it was. Maybe it's the fact that Jay really was the talent, and I thought that it was the fact that I was the business, but Jay also had business and talent is the reason why he's seeing things differently. Maybe it's the fact that Jay just wanted to grow and move on, and he didn't think that we could because he didn't want to split it three ways anymore when he felt like he was the one else that was carrying the team. I've never in my life seen Dame on any interview take a responsibility. He does all of this. I've never seen Dame take responsibility and say, yo, it's my fault, or I take ownership of what my situation is as far as why this company is no more. Or maybe it just don't need to be anymore. P. Rothstein says, how about y'all Lions Anton Super Bowl? I'm hoping that will be dope for the season. Oh, man. It's crazy here in Detroit right now, P. Rothstein. It's insane in the city. I mean, the city is on fire, is lit, and everybody is having a good time, and I'm with it. I'm absolutely with it. But again, man, like him saying Lyor is the one that broke up Rockafella is like saying another man is the reason why your marriage broke up. Ain't nobody make her drop her draws. Ain't nobody make her like him. You don't get mad at the other person. You either take responsibility for what you set in place that make that situation happen, or you hold the person accountable that decided that they wanted to go over and sleep with another man. But at no point do you get mad at the game. The game is the game. What up, Freezy? The game is the game. And so this is what I hear. Without Dame, there wouldn't be no Jay-Z. What are you talking about? Without my parents, it wouldn't be no Anton. Without your mom, not you specifically that just said that, without your mother being for the streets, it might not be no you. That don't mean that I don't hold accountable for what it is that she did in order to put me in this difficult situation to be in this world in the first place. A lot of y'all was born in rats and wrote, without your mama. Man, F your mama. Your mama was for the streets. Stop using that little corny excuse. Listen, people are grown men. Take ownership and responsibility for what you see happening and stop blaming other people for your circumstance and situation. I can't stand when other people whine and complain about what another. Fam, it's over. I have never seen, I don't even think we've seen, have we ever seen Jay-Z at any point? I'm just curious. Have any of us ever seen Jay-Z at any point talk about Dame and Rockafella? Just curious. Has any of us ever seen Jay talk about Dame and Rockafella and what happened? Jay is just out living. It's like being a bitter baby mama, man. Like, let that junk go. Dame is acting like Torrey Hart. We're going to get to Torrey Hart in a minute.
So there at the time?
Now, well, Russell, that's another thing. I didn't like the way he treated Russell. I thought he robbed Russell.
They wasn't equal?
Well, what happened was after they sold the company that Russell brought, they hired Lyor. So then Lyor didn't own Def Jam, but he still ran it. He worked for Universal. So I would watch Russell come in with a project, and it would be like Lyor would have him waiting in the lobby and shit like that.
Lyor made Russell Simmons wait in the
not like
lobby?
that, but meaning they wouldn't just give him a deal.
Yo, are they going to continue to complain about another grown man? Russell sold his company.
They weren't fairly treated, and that's Russell's business, so I don't want to get into that. But I could just tell you, I'd be sitting in the club with Russell and Lyor, and I'd be like, yo, why you mess with him, man? He just so disrespectful to you. Like, why you even... And I'd be in this... And he'd be like, chill, I don't deal with things that way. Well, I'm going to deal with it for you. Like I said, I used to take it personal. I was in the... You remember when his appendix exploded? Mm-hmm. I was at the hospital. I didn't know his mother was in there. And she said some real foul... I mean, it was so racist, I couldn't believe it. Like, yo, you better get your mother. Like one of those. Because she didn't really understand I was in the room. So she said, I forgot.
What she said?
It was some nigga shit. Put it like that. It was something that I was like, she was like, yeah, she just old or whatever. I was like, yo, you wildin'. Like, I couldn't believe
what she said. What you think she said? What you remember?
It was something it was years ago. It felt like nigga.
Whatever piece you remember.
I saw you, when you hear nigga, it's a feeling. It's not, I hear other people say nigga all day, it don't bother me.
Yo, you can't say it felt like it. Either it was or it wasn't. Hey, if anybody disagree, you're more than welcome to get your thoughts off. Just let me know, and I'll drop the link inside of the description for y'all to be able to get. I'm a person that likes to interact with the chat. If anybody disagree, you are more than welcome to let me know. I will drop the link in there and you can call in and help me to understand where I'm off. I'm tired of people running in the Victim Olympics. I don't like him. I don't like his mother. I don't like your mother either. We gonna get this money or not? The reason why he got, apparently Jay seen things similar to the way Lyor seen things about you, which is one of the reasons why your company messed up.
I know when it bothers me. It bothered me.
Did you hear the word?
What makes Dame a great businessman? H1. What makes Dame a great businessman? I'm just curious. And I'm not saying that he's not a great businessman. I'm being as objective as possible. I think that some of the things that he says is true. I don't agree with what he's saying right now. What makes Dame a great businessman? I just want to know.
Word. And the
I
N-word?
told you, I don't remember. It felt like it. It was like 10, 15 years ago, but we had to have an argument over it. So I was like, it felt like something that was that racist. It was so many things. When I first
Shout out to Jordan.
got with Lyor, the first thing he did was try to make me have a beef with another black person on his behalf. And I was like, he said, you with me, right? If you with me, then you got to go to war with me. I said, bro, I got a lot of beefs on the street. You going to go to war with me? Let's not do that. Then I asked him, how much is rich? What's a wealthy guy? You know what he told me? $600,000 after taxes. I never liked the way he would have. And again, I don't like to go off on another man. He ain't here, so bottom line is, I don't like the way he would treat my culture. Still, I don't like the way he talked to the culture. There would be times that he would be saying things, and like I'd be.
You know what's so funny? He never liked nothing about him, but he absolutely did business with him. But he never talked. He all of the complaining is happening now. Lyor don't talk. He not sitting here having no conversations, apparently based off of what it is that I'm seeing out here. Dame is the only person that's complaining. He's the only person that's out here complaining. I don't understand. So he was cool enough for you to take his money and do business with him, but he wasn't cool enough. He not cool enough now that y'all not in business no more because Jay-Z decided to go and do his own thing. I'm just wondering. I'm just curious.
He would like Beanie Siegel or something, and he'd say something that was so offensive, unknowing, unconsciously, just demeaning. And Beanie would be ready to knock him out, and I'd have to bark on him so Beanie didn't do nothing to him. You understand? I'd be like, I got it, don't worry. Like,
Thanks.
he was just an offensive person. What he couldn't understand about me is that I could have white people working for me. Because he thinks black people could only have black people working for him. So when I would walk in and have anybody white in my staff, he'd go to the side and go, are you okay? You let me know if they're treating you wrong.
Blink twice.
I swear to God, he did that shit. Yeah, the blink twice, the napkin. He used to do it to every one of my assistants or anyone from that culture. No disrespect, but this is what he used to do. So I could go on and on and on and on and on. And also, I just think that every Batman needs a Joker, and he's that clown. So that's it. And I think everybody's scared of him, and I'm not, because of the color of his skin. And I want to. It's like he's the poster boy for why you're scared of him. You know what I mean? He's that guy to me. I just don't like how he exploits our culture. And then when he got on the radio and tried to say, who's Damon? And he actually got on the radio and said, yo, I know what they're doing, but I got to eat. How could you like a man that would do that?
I saw that interview on
So
Breakfast
then
Club.
why you don't have a problem with him? Mm-hmm. That would be my.
But how is it any different than Dame? They put out a bunch of stuff that's not necessarily conducive for black people. But I don't see none of, man, listen, I don't see no rappers coming to the front of the congregation and saying, yo, we poisoned our own community with drugs, with the culture that we celebrate every day, so on and so forth. Because just because y'all not saying it, don't mean that y'all not any more guilty in perpetuating it. You know, we got this holier than thou, when you get a chance, no rush, a paper towel. We got this holier than thou perspective that makes our opinion better than everybody else's because it's our culture. Okay, I get it.
My question, how could you not have a problem with that, man? He's not from our culture. He eats off us all day and he makes money off our dysfunction. Why? And then trust him with YouTube? That's how they're killing us. So people aren't even conscious of how they pay out at YouTube or Tubi or any of those things. So what I did was, because I was like, I'm not a herd, especially if he's over there, it's not right. So I use YouTube for marketing, but I went and built my own network. And let's say YouTube gets the ads from Pablo, I went around YouTube and I get the ads from Pablo. So instead of them getting that 6 billion, I get that 6 billion. If I want to split it with a creative, then they'll get 3 billion, I'll get 3 million. But it ain't gonna never be 100 million to 6 billion. But I understand it because no one's asking. Does it make sense to get a million views and only make $7,000? That don't make no sense. So that means that if you, the way that I'm seeing things, if
Who only making $7,000 off of a million views? I'm just curious. Because see, listen, this is the way that it goes. The split is the split. Anybody that knows what the split is and why the split it is the way that it is. I'll give y'all a little bit of insight on some of the stuff that we talk about inside of the Patreon, right? For example, certain subjects pay exponentially more than other subjects. So, for example, let's take the lead attorney. I would assume that the lead attorney makes more per ad or cost per impression based off of however many ads that he have inside of his videos, purely off of AdSense, simply because of his niche. Him being a lawyer means that the type of ads, depending on whatever it is that he aligns himself with, means that the type of ads that runs on his platform are exponentially more profitable because people that are looking for legal advice and commercials that run based off of lawyers, they pay significantly more to run their ads competitively because A, it's not a lot of people doing it, and B, is much more likely to be profitable as far as hiring an attorney or hiring a law firm than it is for somebody that is looking for something that's music related. You see what I'm saying? So the fact that I am doing content on the Millionaire Morning Show that primarily centers around coming back to the money means that the amount of money that I'm generating or my split and the amount that I'm making per ad is significantly more than people that are just out here gossiping about each other and smaller content creators that's not relevant to anything that's going on in society that people don't even want to see, right? So it's more to it than just, man, you making this amount of money. If you only making that amount of money per ad, then that means that we need to change. You need a coaching call from AntonDaniels.com because you don't truly understand the game. That's why I make way more money than most of these content creators on YouTube, even though they'll have double and triple and quadruple the amount of subscribers that I got, because when you understand the business aspect of it, you can leverage the partnership more effectively. But to just to generally say, well, people are just only making $6,000 and $7,000 per million, that's not true. It's absolutely positively not true.
any dollar anyone makes at YouTube, if you were really getting paid what you're supposed to, you would be making 100 times more, 100x, not 10x, 100x. So that's why I launched American New. And that's a real network, broadcast live. It looks like y'all doing a lot of stuff here, but you could get on it right now. And
But shout out to him for plugging this stuff. What did you say? American New?
the ads are Nike and all that. So no one teaches us about the ads.
So let me just see what he got going on.
They're just teaching us about how it feels to understand when people are viewing you and it feels good. And that takes the place of the money that you're supposed to be making, the fame it gives you, and no one's asking about why they're not getting no money. Those are the questions I ask. This doesn't, the breakdown doesn't make sense. Then I got to do an investigation. But I'm never going to be that Johnny. Like, you're never going to be making me do all this work, and you're getting the lion's share. It's not. It just doesn't make sense. It's the same as.
Give me a second. Let me go in here and see what's happening out here in these streets, man. American New. Okay, so they do have a YouTube channel. So it looks like he's monetizing on YouTube also. So he's dropping content on YouTube. And he's doing a significant amount of views sometimes. He's got 1.5, 1,500 on that one, 57 on that one, with 19 keys. But they don't drop that often. They got unlimited amount of stuff. So I'm guessing that he's using this to Oh, he did a Yaki Awaken interview. Interesting. I didn't know that. Let me see. Let me see. American New Network, home about events, an all original media distribution platform. Shout out to Dane for working. Got his stuff up there. I'm guessing you got to download it in order to actually run it. I don't know where you're supposed to go.
Click, click. That sounds epic. That sounds epic. Boom! We in the room. Yeah.
But shout out to him for doing what it is that he said. I mean, you got to give Dame credit for working. Like, you know, at least he's pushing out and not just complaining. I got to give Dame credit for that, but I don't really see how they can run anything. Again, I'm guessing that you got to download the app. Yeah, I'm guessing you got to download the app. Anyways, let me get back to this real quick. See what's happening out here in these streets, man.
Thing that happened in the music business. If there was robbery in the music business, anytime there's a new business, there's robbery. So you have to look for it. You could never think that on the internet and all this new money and BPMs and all of that we not getting completely robbed. No one's even asking. No one challenges the bust down or the split. No one says, let me see how much money you made off that Nike ad. They just want to know how much they're getting. I don't know how much you getting, so I'm not going to do that. I got to know how much. And when I work with my creatives, there's a dashboard. We made this much off a Nike ad. You get.
AL says Jay-Z should say the same thing Country Wayne said. It's been 20 years. Agreed. It's been 20 years. Why am I still the main topic of every interview? Get your work up. Agreed. I'm 100% in agreement with you, AL. That is absolutely fact.
60%, I get 40. Let's go eat. But I'm not going to sit there now because my culture is creatives now. So now I'm going to go put him out of business in YouTube too. Because he can't make no more music because it's only, to me, his only business model was robbing niggas. And nigga meaning people that aren't smart. Not black people, people that are in a tight situation that will do anything to get out of it. And by the time they realize they've been robbed, they owe or they in jail.
Your company is American New, right? You said
That's my family's company.
That's your
But that's the
family's
network,
company.
yeah.
Okay, so
I work for my family.
When someone wants to go search your company, what search engine do they use?
To go on American News?
What's typically like?
Well, right, it just launched, so you could go on Fire Stick. It should be on Apple. It'll be on Roku.
I see what Willie D is doing here. He's saying, listen, at the end of the day, you on somebody else's server. In order for them to find you, they still got to go on Google, which is owned by Alphabet, which also owns YouTube. That's exactly where he's getting at. He's saying, listen, you're talking about this, but the very same infrastructure that you're complaining about, you're still using. When they search for your stuff, ads still pop up. Sponsorships still pop up before they show yours. They show sponsorships for it. Real talk. I got to give respect over to Willie D for that.
But to get to Roku, Apple, you mean going straight through their apps?
Well, through their distribution.
Through their distribution.
Which you still have to partner with Roku and Apple. YouTube is a distribution network in the same way that Roku and Apple and Google and the App Store and on Google Play. And see, when you start, and this is the thing, when you go down that path, you have to go down it all the way. Meaning that you can't just go on YouTube and say, man, they robbed me on whatever. If you're going to say that you're independent 100%, then you have to be 100% independent. Build it 100%. You can't use Google search engine. You can't use Google Play Store. You can't use the Apple App Store. You can't use any of that. Why not go and get in your own phone, right? Because somewhere down the line, you're still splitting at some point. I don't know. Let me be quiet.
But if somebody wanted to just look you up and say, let me look up American New, typically what search engine
I
would
should
you
have broke this
use?
down on a million
Maybe
and more.
Google.
Google, right? And Google owns YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Nah.
So Google, anytime Google, this sounds like you would be a direct competitor to YouTube, right?
Now he being
To
careful.
everybody, right?
But
Words.
to
If
YouTube,
if you,
a Tubi,
but if
one of
He
those.
don't want to offend the guests. He's trying to be very, very careful with his word. If you create a movie, but then you want to do a split with Netflix or you want to do it with Apple and put it on one of their platforms, or even if you want to put it inside of the theaters, you still need a distribution network.
But if you're, let me put myself over here. If I'm YouTube, if I'm Google, and I own YouTube, and I see a competitor coming off from the
I didn't know
side,
what
I'm
you
running,
were talking
and I
about.
see this.
I didn't know. The reason I didn't do it on the Millionaire Morning Show is because I didn't vet it. I just seen it pop up. And so, I thought he was going to be talking about Lyor Cohen. I didn't know he was going to be talking about the money side of it. But the way that my brain work, I got to break it down from a business perspective.
Competitor coming up on the side of me, and I got the power to do that, trip you, and get away with it. I'm gonna do it. If I get an opportunity to hit you with a boat,
Yeah, but I'm gonna punch you in the back
I'm
of your
gonna
head.
do it.
If somebody hit you in the back of the head for that, I'm not gonna just let that happen.
But check this out.
You go, poop, I'll be
Okay.
like, boom.
And
You know what I'm saying?
I respect that, but I want you to tell me after I tell you this. I want you to tell me how you gonna bow me in the back of the head when I
Not
tell you
you,
this.
but
No, I'm not. No, we're talking
I'm
about.
not you in the back of the head.
We're talking metaphorically.
Yeah.
But listen, this is what I'm saying. Okay, say I see the competitor coming up on the side of me,
How did Tubi do it?
and now I'm gonna say.
We're not.
Yo,
Okay, here's the difference.
I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say. Let me make the
All right.
point first. But I'm gonna say.
Rita's talking about, Anton, I see you eating. This is after hours. We do what we want to do on after hours. There is no blueprint. This ain't the Millionaire Morning Show. We eat our food over here. I'm eating some mashed potatoes. I'm getting it in, too.
Oh, let me hit these filters so that Dame's people can't reach him as much as they want to. Let me make sure that they have a problem getting over there because Google controls the algorithm. They control the filters.
Correct.
They can. This is why it's been so. Trust me, I am not trying to discourage. I just believe that if we are to do our thing, I think that we need an entire new search engine because if we're going to go up against Google, if we're going to go up against YouTube, we need a different search engine than Google, and it needs to be black owned and controlled because otherwise, if people have to go find us, just like
I understand.
almost every other.
Here's the difference.
Every other
with
company
guys
in this country
with guys
and
like
world,
you and I,
you got to search.
With guys like you and I, right? Google will be for people that don't know us, right? Because they'll know how to get to us because they know us. So I have a direct-to-consumer relationship.
So you want to use and leverage YouTube and Google in order to filter people over into what it is that you're doing from a direct consumer perspective. Okay, cool.
The people that I know. If, as far as the algorithm goes, for some reason I'm in that algorithm that I pop up. I don't pay for that or any of those things, and it's a fight for independence. It's inspiration, and it's self-awareness, and it's positive. Because we have the ability to do what we need to do with the ads, we could also control algorithms as well. So when I get into a game, I've already, again, you go on somebody's block, it's easy to call the police. You just got to deal with that type of shit. It's part of the game. So I know that there's always a competitor doing something, but my work to me is so good that I'm going to get there and there's nothing they can do about it. I watch a Tubi, there's no creatives over there. That's just an ad agency that put together and there's no genius there, and they went and got bought by Fox. Only thing that they would do is try to buy me. But the difference between me and YouTube is that I'm not just taking any work. anyone could get on YouTube. This is more of a Netflix situation where I gotta like it to put it on. I'm not just doing that with everybody.
And that's the difference. And therein, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly why it's a difference. And if anybody disagrees with me at any point on After Hours, let me know and I'll drop the link and you can tell me what it is that you disagree with. But therein lies the difference. That's the difference, because it's all based off of whether or not you like it or not. It's not based off of whether or not it's just free for the people for be able to create. You yourself are censoring people. Anyways, yeah, man, I think that Dame is a chew the meat, spit out the bones type of guy for me. I think that he makes some good points and some great points, but I think other times he could be off. He could just be off, in my opinion. So, yeah, man. Shout out to Dame Dash. Shout out to Willie D. That was actually a pretty decent